Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you an under 14 basketball practice plan that really focuses around defense. Let's get down to the clipboard, let's check these out, but first, if you would like some custom basketball practice plans, go check out the link in the description below. Now let's get down to the clipboard. So after our 10-minute warm-up and 5-minute stretch, we're going to get down to a 15-minute drill, and this is going to be called a 3-man chaser. So in the 3-man chaser, what we're going to have is one coach. We're going to have 3 players lined up along the free throw line extended and 3 players lined up along the baseline. And we're going to have the coach pass to one of those 3 players. And from there, let's say he passes to player 5. What's going to happen now? Player 5 is going to be point guard. Player 1 is going to be running down court. Player 2 is going to be running down court. And his defender, player 3, he needs to go and touch the baseline. Meanwhile, player 1 red and player 4 red are going to be running back to play defense, a 3-on-2 defense, so that now player 3 needs to go touch that baseline and recover, so that now it's 3-on-2 until he gets back and it's 3-on-3. Now you're probably saying, what happens if the coach passes to the wing? Well, if the coach passes to the wing, what has to happen is player 4 still needs to go and touch baseline, player 1 needs to get back on defense, player 3 needs to get back on defense, and we need one of 2 things to happen. We can either have player 1 pass to player 5 who's going to be dribbling it down court, or player 5 and 1 can switch spots so that now player 1 is going up the middle. We always want the ball to be going up the middle in case of a trap along the sidelines. So in this case, player 4 is still going down to touch the baseline. We have player 1 and 3 running back for defense, and we're going to be 3-on-2 until player 4 gets his butt back to defense. Okay, so now we're going to be running the zigzag dribbling drill with a defender. This is going to be a 10-minute drill, and we're going to be, it's very simple, zigzagging along the pylons. If you don't have pylons, that's totally okay. You can use really anything you would like, pieces of clothing, or you can go and check out the link in the description below. I've got some pylons that you might like down there. However, what we're going to be having is these 2 players defending and zigzagging down the court. If you have a lot of players, you can set this up on this end as well and have a zigzag going back down. However, these 2 players right now we're just focusing on, and once they get to this last pylon, it's going to be hard defense. So along here, it's just going to be mediocre defense. If you run an older team, you could do hard defense. But once we get to this last pylon, we want player 1 to really attack that rim, and we want player 2 to really defend. So now we are not just learning how to dribble the basketball under pressure, but also we are teaching our defender to be a really tight player, a really tight defender. So now this is the shell drill. We're going to be running this for 15 minutes. Now in the shell drill, basically we're going to start with 3 players, and then we're going to start stacking up to be having 5 players. And how I like to teach the shell drill and how I like to teach defense, even if your team is very good at defense, I still like to run the shell drill once in a while. We're going to have player 1 pass over to player 3. That will bring player 5 blue out. Player 1 is going to be playing deny, and player 2 is going to be playing help defense. Help defense is roughly around the center line, the imaginary center line at the rim. Now what we're going to have is player 3 pass back around. They're going to be going back down to their locations, and player 1 is going to be passing back around. He's in deny, he is on man, he is in help. Now, once we run that through a few times, we can even have players who are cutting across so that we can have player 5 try and deny that pass from happening. And now, of course, this is more advanced. However, I like to run an attack code or attack line where I can say, after about 30 seconds of passing the ball around, I can say attack, and I don't want the player to go and dribble through an attack. I want there to be passing. So what I want is either something like a screen and like a back screen here and player 1 to be cutting towards the rim, or something like that. Something for your team to go and attack without having to attack on the dribble, attacking through passing. However, this is also still teaching defense on passing defense. Now, let's get into a 5-man shell. Now, on a 5-man shell, we're going to be having these guys in deny, these guys in help. Help up top is just the center of the side of the key. If we pass the ball around, he is now in deny. Player 2 is man on. Player 5 is deny. We have player 3 being 2 steps away, which is roughly the corner of the key or the corner of the free throw line. And player 4 is going to be closer to the center of the key. Now, of course, NBA rules and maybe a couple of different small leagues may not allow you to be inside the key. So you could be just on the outside of the key. But personally, most leagues at under 14 age group, you're basically looking at a zone type defense where you can run, and so that allows you to be in the key right there. Now, when you start passing the ball around, we still have 2 passes or 2 steps away. Player 1 is going to move into 2 steps away. Player 4 is going to be staying where he is at. And then you can keep on passing the ball around and deny, deny, help, help. And then pass the ball around, deny again, deny, help, help, and man on. And you can keep on passing the ball around. And again, with my stack that I like to run, which is attack, which means that we would have something like maybe a player 1 cutting across, running a back screen on player 4 who would then cut towards the rim. Something like that, which will allow you to not just be teaching offense, but also be teaching defense and having player 5 pop out to help out and player 2 to fill down to cover those 2 players along the wing. Okay, so in this drill, what we're going to have is a lot of space. We're going to be spaced out with a lot of different basketball players around us. And you're going to be where you are right now is where the coach would be, where the camera is right now. And basically what you'd be doing is pointing in the direction where you want your players to go. So if you want your players to go left or right, that's the direction you're going to be pointing. If you point towards them, you want them to be backpedaling. And then if you point towards yourself, you want them to be running towards you. Basically, this is a defensive drill. They're going to be in their defensive stance. Basically, what that is knees slightly bent, roughly 90-degree angle, and hands out so that you can take away the passes. And the direction where they're heading is where the foot is going to be pointing. And they're going to be shuffling back and forth. And they're going to be going as fast as they can. And at this time, you can even stack this drill where you can say loose ball and they'll dive on the ground. Obviously, you're not going to want to do this outside. You're going to want to do this on a wooden basketball court. And then you can say shots up. They can stop. They can contest the shot, get back down, and they can be stuttering. And that's how you would be starting this drill as well. So when you say go, they're going to go defense, and they're going to start stuttering. And then when you point in the direction, they're going to shuffle in that direction. And if you point towards yourself, they're going to be running towards you. You point away from yourself, they're going to be running backwards. And then you can even add in other things like take a charge so that then they learn how to fall on the ground. And I'm not about to do that on pavement, but that is this drill, and it is fantastic for cardio and also for defense. And now we're going to be running 3-man weave. So 3-man weave is, again, pretty simple. We're going to be having player 2 pass over to player 1. He's going to follow his pass, and then he's going to be going behind player 1. Player 1 is then going to pass over to player 3. He's going to follow his pass and go behind, and then we're going to be going all the way down the court. You're going to be doing 3-man weave all the way down the court. And then once we get down the court, what's going to happen is the player who goes and takes that layup, he needs to get his butt back on defense. So you can, this is kind of a stack. You can run just a simple 3-man weave down, have him go along the sideline to get back. And then after about a couple of minutes, we're going to be going into the player who does the layup. He's going to be getting his butt back on defense, and now it's going to be 2-on-1 leading back. And now for 10 minutes, what we're going to run for is called the triangle 3-on-2 man in the middle. So basically, we're going to be having multiple groups of 4 throughout the basketball court. And we're going to be having 3 players spread out. And we're going to be having 2 players who are together. So let's go down to the half court and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to be having 3 offensive players, which we have right here in the blue, and we're going to have 2 defensive players in the middle. Now what we're going to be having is player 1, he needs to pass to either player 2 or player 4, while player 1, he is the one who's going to be trying to pick off those passes. Player 2 is going to be playing man on as tight as he can without fouling, and basically what player 1 needs to do is to see where player 1 is looking or where he is leading towards and pass the opposite direction possibly, or do a fake pass in one area or towards one player, and then pass in the other direction. When this happens, and let's say the ball gets through, player 1 is now going to be playing man on, and player 2 is going to be the one who is going to be denying the pass. Now, if, let's say, for example, player 2 picks off that pass, player 1 just made that pass to player 4, and player 4 just made that pass that got intercepted, well, what's going to happen now is player 1 and player 4 are going to be the defenders, and player 2 and 1 red are going to be on the outside as the offensive players. And you can run through this for about 10 minutes. Now, in the last 10 minutes of our practice, we never got to run over our plays. Today was just mainly defense and learning defense. This is a great practice plan for the beginning of the season. And for the last 10 minutes, we're going to run just a cool down. We might be talking about what we're going to talk about next practice, what we might do next practice, or something along those lines. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and get custom practice plans in the link in the description below.